Hello everyone, I'm Mike DeAngelo with That's Entertainment, and this is your video review of Demon's Souls by From Software. When games fly under the radar, it's usually an uphill struggle to find a foothold in the software industry. Word of mouth can only do so much, and advertising clearly gathers the most attention. But when people started talking about the incredibly difficult Demon's Souls, others started listening. Who would want to play a game that quite literally wants to kill your character? Who would want to subject themselves to a title that's main appeal is convincing players to persevere despite the difficulty? With all that Demon's Souls has to offer, it might just be you. The king of the nation of Boletaria has been searching for a way to bring prosperity to himself and his kingdom. He found his answer within the Nexus, which housed powerful souls. His hunger for power went unsatisfied, however, and he reached deeper into the Nexus until he awakened the titular evil from its slumber. The demon wrapped the world in fog and darkness, and sent an army of minions to devour the souls of the inhabitants of Boletaria, trapping them indefinitely. One of the citizens escaped the fog, however, and reached the outside world. His cries for help did not go unheard, and adventurers from far-off lands journeyed to Boletaria to test their might against the fearless demon. None were successful and all were defeated, except for one. Your character has the power to lead one last stand against the demon and his army, but where so many fell before, it will be a difficult battle indeed. Demon's Souls is relentlessly evil. I don't mean that as a bad thing, it's just as honest as it gets. From Software doesn't usually make games too easy, its previous endeavors including such titles as Armored Core, Kingsfield, and Tenchu. That's perhaps part of the reason that Demon's Souls has a jaw-dropping complexity, and it isn't as if the game is impossible, it's just very unforgiving. Demon's Souls relies heavily upon the mental acuity of the person playing it. They need to have quick reactions and a good memory, as well as the composure to understand that they will die. If you come into this game thinking you're going to make it all the way through without ever falling to a boss or even a small assortment of minions, you're lying to yourself. One of the rewards of Demon's Souls is that when you beat an especially tricky scenario, you feel rewarded by it, knowing that you toppled the opposition. Since dying is part of the game, there had to be a way to incorporate it into making it fun. From Software did a tremendous job of finding its answer to death. When you first die, you lose your corporeal body and become a soul. And in soul form, your health is reduced by 60%, but otherwise, everything remains the same. To get your soul back, you can do a couple of different things. You can kill a boss in a Nexus chapter, kill the player within another game, help a living player kill a boss, or be resurrected by another player. There's also an item that you can use, but it isn't nearly as appealing as any of the other options. Besides all that, though, the game would be wholly entertaining without the difficulty, thanks to clever boss fights, which require a lot of forward thinking and clever reactions. When I picked up the game, I thought to myself, the catch of Demon's Souls is definitely the difficulty. The graphics are probably going to suck. But in the 5 seconds after I put the game in, I was stunned. The game really does surprise. James Cameron's new movie Avatar looks on par with the FMV in the intro of this game. And the in-game material is done really well too. I wish that more developers would take the time to keep their projects looking as fresh as Demon's Souls. The music can be a little forgettable, except for some of the really cool boss fights. I can't actually remember any of the regular music, but it wasn't altogether bad or distracting. The sound too isn't anything revolutionary, but it doesn't detract. The voiceover work was done very well. While there isn't a lot of it, they made good use of it whenever it's present.
That is why you came,
With a game as difficult as Demon's Souls, perhaps the idea of playing it again is a little masochistic. There are several different ways you can build your character, however, so if you did choose to put yourself in harm's way a second time, you could have a completely different experience with the game. Add in the ability to play this action RPG with friends, and you spice up the game enough to make it worth your while to pick it up again. From Software takes the road less traveled with Demon's Souls. The game is difficult, true, but it is truly rewarding in that beating some of the tough instances leaves you with pride as a gamer. 20 years ago, when games like Legend of Zelda hit the market, we played without the internet and relied mostly on our own intuition and perseverance. It's good to see From Software bringing us back to that point, even if it is just for a little while. On top of that, the game provides where some may think it would be lacking. A decent story and dialogue combined with beautiful graphics help to round out this tough game, softening its sharper edges. That's Entertainment awards Demon's Souls a score of 8.5 out of 10.